Good morning, Ben. Morning, Alexis. Yeah, you beat the bot. You could have put all sorts of things in there. Morning, Paul. Just getting things set up here. There we go. Michael Myers. Wow. How's it going, man? Way past your bedtime, indeed. Michael Myers is an old classmate from high school. Cheers to you, man. All right. We'll go over and switch on the cameras right at the top of the hour. Yeah, let's check mic on, mic level. All right, we're good there. Alexis, thanks for jumping in here. Put his. There we go. That's way too loud for me now. That's perfect. I can turn down the volume. There's that. That's the perfect placement. I turn my head in this direction all the time. I should have been putting the mic there all the time. All right. And switch over to. That's what I'm looking for right over there. Let's switch on that camera. Good morning, everybody. Or afternoon if you're further south. Or, sorry, further east. I can think this morning. Not. All right. No, the bots have to be there to prevent spammers from dealing with doing stupid stuff in here. Yep, I did realize. I figured I can greet you guys while I get things set up and not have cameras on showing me tripping over my own stuff. So, yeah, Ben, you and I are in the same longitude, latitude. I always get those mixed up. What you do on your own time, Ben. So today, for the very first time, I'm going to forge 3/4 inch square stock. Give myself a good workout. And I'm going to go back to the basics real quick, only because I'm depleting my stock of leaf key rings. You turn this way, move it that way a little bit. Yeah, I'm depleting my stock of leaf key rings by all the gifting we're doing. And so I need to make some more. Oh, happy Monday, Paul. I knew there was one shortcoming of doing this thing on Sunday. We hit some of you folks on a completely different, not time zone, but I mean, it is time zone, but different day of the week. All right, let's trap some more of that heat in. And on the side here, I got some charcoal cooking because I'm running low on charcoal for starting my fire and keeping it running when I gab too much. Michael Myers, because I think you're the only one in here right at the moment that doesn't blacksmith. Coal does not like to stay on fire if it doesn't have a steady flow of oxygen coming at it, pushed at it. So throw some charcoal in the bed of the fire, and it keeps the charcoal at least won't go out, and you can reignite the coal then. And to be fair, I'm not burning coal at this point. I've already cooked the coal that's sitting in the back. This is the coke that it's that anthracite, the bituminous turns into. "1:30 a.m. Hey, Beergrass Forge. Adam, thanks for jumping in. You keep a late night on Sunday night, Monday morning. So they have half-hour time zones there in Australia, huh? Beer 30 up in here. No, at 9 in the morning? Not for me. I'll need to be falling asleep already. I have trouble enough staying awake. Keep mine water. Haven't dropped anything yet, but you know, best to be prepared. That's not true. Before I turned on the cameras, I dropped this piece of metal. And Ben, I'll leave it to your imagination to try and figure out whether or not I'm wearing damn it, the other camera captures it. Oh yeah, there we go. We're getting some color in that bar. Awake and not at work. True, it can be that. All right, I think we have enough heat to move the metal a little bit. Just so we can see that heat, not because I need it to be clean right now. Move in the, like I said, it's the first time I'm working anything this heavy. At least for leaves. I've worked that heavy bit of steel for which means I need to be swinging better. That's getting a bit. I could continue working it considering it's mild steel. But no sense in doing that when I got a perfectly good fire here. So, as I was saying earlier at the top of today, seeing that hammer, in the eastern states, it's in 1.5 hours. So today, Paul, I am gonna make my first 3/4 inch, which is probably too big, but I wanted to try it, leaf key ring. I had some 3/4 inch here. I cut it in half so I could throw it in the fire. Had 6 foot of it. Let's see. Seeing that hammer, swing that hammer and hotter, or it's just the lights. The lights in here kind of, yeah, they're not real good for that, for seeing too much. But no, you did see it getting too cold. It was a very dull red by the time I put it in the fire. Yeah, Tom, Ben, I don't know. I've never done it. Okay. Got some heat. Let's hit it. Hit it while the iron's hot. Oh, it's bouncing on my hand just to count my ring. That hurt. It's going to be a really big leaf. Now, let's see. Camera says it's still red. And it is. But I can tell you, it's not moving so nice. So I might as well put it in the fire. Hey, Shane. I don't remember if I said hi to Jeff. I got a pretty good house in here. See, following the impractical blacksmiths is probably my wisest marketing move I've ever made. That's funny to me because I am no marketing genius. It is why I am never going to be a rich man. I will be wealthy, I just won't be rich. I am wealthy. I have been smithing, well, let's put it this way. I was a Renaissance weekend smith a couple times a year for about 6 years. That's not a lot of smithing. Then I had to take a couple of years off because I didn't know any smiths here I could hang out with. When we moved from Florida, where all my friends in the Ren community are, and I was too busy with my career to try and meet new Rennies here. So, We moved into a community where I didn't feel comfortable with the tiny little acreage we had. We didn't have acreage. We had a tiny postage stamp right next to another tiny postage stamp right next to another, backed by another tiny postage stamp in an HOA, and I think they would have had a conniption if I started a fire every weekend. But finally we bought this 2.5 acres, and I have now been doing it every weekend for about 1.5 years with a bunch of y'all. So not a long history of blacksmithing. Well, duh, of course we're nerds. We're blacksmiths. Oh, a power hammer. See, I'm gonna get one of Roy's as soon as I can figure out where I'm putting it and save up the funds. I'm gonna get one of Roy's power assisted treadle hammers. Not the same thing, obviously. Go to the anvil. Hey, don't hit the anvil. That short taper is getting longer and longer now. I'm not happy about that. But I also am not sure it's a horrible thing. Wow. Just pulling back to dimensions. Because things spread in multiple directions the way I did that. It's going to be a big leaf. Definitely not the right size to do this with. But a fun experience to do it. Kevin, aloha. You guys are doing math, man. That is way more planning than I ever do. Another reason why I will just always be a hobbyist, having fun. Everything else takes too much planning. My fire, I've been waiting for him to show up. My fire today is sponsored by Thomas Goodamoot. I gotta take a minute to share this. We got a good downpour happening here today. I posted this already up on my Instagram. But Thomas sent me this beautiful steak turner with the lovely reverse twists, his favorite twist. And then he took it one step further and monogrammed it for me. Isn't that wonderful? He had to sit there for how long with his center punch to mark all those. And then he took it even one step further than that. And I guess having pity on me for struggling to get out to get coal, he sent me a bag of bituminous. The same exact stuff I've been working with. I've now dumped about 2/3 of it into my forge. So it's cooking up right now. Hey, Thomas, I was just bragging on you. All right, move that out of the way. Move this back over here. Let's see if I can get this last. Should be no problem. There we go. I was just hitting the wrong spot. Shove that away. It's got a little bit of a fold at the tip, so I'm going to stop here for a second and see about rasping that off. You might be able to see it in the camera there. Seems like cameras are even better than human eyes sometimes when looking at blacksmith work. So let me no, this rasp stinks. I'm going to throw this one in the garbage. This one, I have no idea what made me think that was a good one to use. All right. There's what I'm looking for. Let's quickly ruin my rasp here. Or my file, I should say. Okay, it's gone. Good, good. On to the next step. And then for anybody who's never seen this done before, the next step is you go about the same, you go back from this transition about the same depth as your material is, and you set it down. So that's what we're going to do next. 1 cube's length, as they say. Yep, coke coal, bituminous, good stuff. Unless it's something even different than that. Charcoal purist. This is a charcoal forge, Adam. I don't know if you've seen this. And this forge, if I talked about it when you stopped in or not, I don't remember. You're seeing me cook up charcoal on the sides of this forge right now. Here, I'll give you this focus. And since this is meant to be near hot stuff, let's use it as a pointer real quick. I've got wood sitting up here on the sides. And yeah, it's burning somewhat, but the heat in here will also just cook it into coal. This was meant to be a charcoal forge that makes its own charcoal. So I've been a charcoal purist as well. The problem is, with as much rain as we have out here, I don't have any dry wood at the moment. And people have sent me coal, so no reason not to use it. I do like starting this thing up though in the morning with the charcoal, because number one, I need it for all this gabbing I do to keep things fired up, but it also just smells wonderful. Okay, just in case this was too long for everybody, because I know my bot can do that to people, Speargrass had said, hint for helping to stop that bounce around is keep the stock bar arm as close to your body as possible and try to lock your elbow into your side. If you don't already, can't see you're slightly off camera. Yeah, that's a good tip. I can tell you for a fact, I don't have the best form. I'm just learning it as I go along when somebody gives me a tip like the one you just did, so I appreciate it. I don't care for the sulfur that comes off the green coal all that much. It ends up, you know, in my beard and in my hair and all that. It's not horrible, but once that's burned off, there's hardly a scent left. So I have no complaints about the smell after that initial firing. Let's see if I'm getting aired in. Yep, I can hear it. Yeah. One of your compatriots across the pond here did an amazing job of changing my habits when it comes to my fire management. So Eric said, in case that was too long, I've thought about trying to buy some of that bituminous coal. The places I've checked don't ship product. Thinking of checking with the mines and see what I can get. Yeah, I have to travel roughly an hour away, Eric, to get myself coal. Going to a... so I can't find any blacksmith supplies here in the area, and that's crazy because we have a lot of blacksmiths here in Seattle, including 2 or 3 places you can go and take classes. Sam who. But we do have farrier supply, and a lot of farriers here obviously as well. So the one farrier supply close to me doesn't seem to carry coal, but the one an hour away does. So, and the goal for me for changing, this is the reason I've changed to Sundays instead of Saturdays. It wasn't the marketing. That's why I was laughing earlier. Is that my steel supply and that farrier supply both close at noon on Saturday and aren't open on Sunday. I would love to see Big Dog more often. Tim is an amazing human being, and one of these days, he's already agreed to it. I just haven't found my right moment. But one of these days, I hope to do some sort of collaboration with him. He lives near Puyallup, I believe, which is just a couple of towns over for me. Cities, as they say, but we know what we mean. Awesome Sausage Forge dropping in. Robert Lunas dropping in. Michael Hayes. Yep, there you go. I'm hoping to replace my old and busted gas forge with a ribbon burner. I now have more than enough power, I think, to run a ribbon burner. Besides my first gen EcoFlow Delta that I run this live stream with, we just got an EcoFlow Pro to run our RV with. So if I need to have more power than the Delta can give, I've got that now. $55-gallon drum. Yep, that's what I've got. One of those here too. What I would like to get to make it even more effective is a 40-gallon drum that I can seal up except for a gas port on top, and then throw inside the 55-gallon drum, and then I will have a really good system here. The problem I made with this 55-gallon drum, and it maybe don't even do that, just get a 55-gallon drum, another 55-gallon drum. But the biggest problem is I made this one for burning cardboard. And so there's a hole in the bottom, and I plan on putting more holes in the bottom so they can get an updraft to burn that cardboard up more completely. I can make charcoal in it, but it's not super effective. Okay. There's so much rain noise that I can't hear my forge. Hey, my wife's here. And yes, the EcoFlow Pro is hers. That must be not bituminous then, Eric. What is the other one? Anthracite, I hear, doesn't coke up. Works just fine. Harder to work with, I hear, but what do I know? I'm just a backyard enthusiast who watches a lot of videos. You guys, so many of you on this live stream at the moment have been my inspiration and or mentor, and didn't even know it until now. So my hat off to you guys. Clamming, nice. I mean, miserable isn't nice, but the fact that you go clamming, that's a cool hobby. Feed the fam. Pile dirt around the holes to seal them off. Wait a minute. On my retort, it's easy and cheap. Oh, that's not a bad idea, Paul. I've thought about doing that exact thing. It means I need to find my shovel. I know where it is, I think. And yeah, I have a huge brush pile. So, but it's all soaking wet right now. Ah, today's pedicure day in the rain? Oh, wait a minute. Yeah, that's what you're saying. Never mind. All right. I was gonna say I didn't think she worked on the Sundays. Let's see if we can move this metal. That looks about a cube's length. We'll go ahead and lift it up. Let's look and see if I moved too much. I did. We'll pull it back. That looks about right. Feels like it's staying into place. All right, that's got one side. Let's flip it. I can see now that I got a double strike in there. Not the worst thing ever. All right, let's get it hotter. I now know for a fact this is too heavy a material to be wanting to do this with. By hand, anyway. Obviously, people do humongous leaves for gates and decorative blacksmithing, which is exactly the stuff I want to do. But they have the advantage of a power hammer or a press. Has our farrier, have you taken and shown our farrier what I got going on here, dear? Or you've always taken Rosie over to Gracie's? Ben, I would break out a an appropriately stable stool for you if that's what it took to get you to come up to my forge 7 hours from home. That would be an awesome interaction. We'd definitely live stream that. Okay. I can hear the whooshing, but mostly all I hear is rain. It's going to be that kind of day, love. We're not doing any work out here today. Maybe Jared and I will get in and muck under the stall. He'll put on a raincoat. Oh, the spider didn't like the heat. Can you see her? Let me switch to that one. She was hiding in under here. I don't know where she went now. Too slow. She didn't get burnt up though. That's good. Spider season's back. I get to walk into the webs every time I come out and feed the chickens again. Bend the power hammer. That would be awesome. Yeah. For those who don't, well, you know what? That is the reason I put the chat in the live stream, is just in case people aren't with us and don't sit there and watch the live stream, but are watching the video. Watch the chat, but are watching the video. They can see the fun we have. Give Dad a pinch for me. Okay, that's hot enough for sure. Whew. That bar is getting a little hot down towards that side too. Might have to cool that off. I am definitely making things hot enough. All right, I can feel it index right up to where I want it. Half-face blows. So, my thought is I might not turn this into a key ring. Only because that would look really weird, I think, to have a stem as small as it would be necessary for that to be a key ring. I'm only straightening. It is not necessary to straighten for anybody who's watching that doesn't know what I'm doing. I'm only straightening so I can gauge what I need to do next. The lobes are close enough to the same that it won't matter, but I could definitely give it a little whack at an angle and that would then tighten that up. What else? The stem definitely needs to be thinner yet. When I give it that angle, I'll be ended up pushing that in. We'll see if I get myself a cold shut. All right, more heat. Yeah, so now I've learned my lesson. These leaves, this is a way too big a size for this. A leaf bowl, there you go. Hey, Rob. And Rob, Ert. We got 2 Rob types now in here. A palm frond. I could actually do that. You're right. A self-defense leaf club. Ben the leprechaun. Yeah, nobody would have trouble finding their keys in their purse with that. On the other hand, as big as it is, it also could possibly damage your purse. So I don't know about if I'd want to have that big a pointy thing in my pocket. Well, see, all of my leaves are self-defense leaves, Kevin. But the key there is they're only supposed to be for quickly clawing at somebody if need be. This would be, yeah, I could actually turn this into a bladed weapon. Except, of course, I mean, it's mild steel. Yeah, there we go. Good heat. We'll go ahead and pull it over this way a little bit. See if we can clean up that transition. It has to get thinner anyway. So you know, people always talk about blacksmithing must be very therapeutic because you get your aggression out. And I was always saying, nah, it really is a peaceful endeavor. But I will say, if you're going to work bigger stuff like this, you might be right on the right track with that statement then. And good. See there? Cleaned it up. I don't have as much going on there. I think now I've actually overdid it on that side. And now I need to do the same thing on this side. All right, let's do that. Leaf-bladed spearhead. Yeah, that's true. Definitely each step was a step better. Hang it on the belt, that's right. Rue the day. Ah. Come on. Stay where I want you. Let's go ahead and clear the airport that I have there. The joke that I grew up with most of my life is, don't say hi, Jack. when greeting me at the airport. Such a bad joke. Well, that's what that just reminded me of. You're here for the non sequiturs anyway, so. Idaho. Well, we could have a whole meetup here at this point. We've got 3 of us on the West Coast. Oh, 4 of us, since you say Michael is near you too. You can make a butter knife out of anything. Yep. That is a project for the future. I watched another smith this week make himself a fork. And it made me realize I can start making some fun cutlery. Oh, hold on. There was a big blob there. Did it show up? It did. It doesn't look like it showed up in the stream, so I'll just read it. Anyone that says blacksmithing is therapeutic has never stood in front of a forge for a few hours when things just aren't working and flung the work tool steel into the distance. Truth. That was Speargrass Forge. Wisdom there. But it won't good knife. I'm telling you, you guys are gonna end up getting an invitation for a meetup here. My wife's itching to have a reason for our place to be a venue. Anvil. Go ahead and start. All right. Let's go over the horn for this one. You guys can't see that. Let's pull back. Let's tip forward. Let's put it back in the fire because I've been talking. No, just kidding. We'll go ahead and fuller from both sides. A lot of ring in that anvil. Good thing I don't need to hear anything. All right, back into the heat. Jack Pine's Blacksmithing, or the live stream that shows you what not to do. In this case, don't work 3/4 inch steel by hand down to 1/4 inch steel. It's not cost effective in time. Now, I mean, if you want to just do it for fun, go for it. But don't do it and think that you'll be selling stuff on Etsy and become a millionaire. That's right, Tom. It's another one that we don't care to be That's right, the Western impractically Smiths hammer in. Yep. tactical assault leaf. You know, I might need to chop down this this into a short where I say exactly that. That would be funny. It's not a short drive for you then, huh? You got to put on bigger tires, Adam. Fill them with helium. The goal is to get lighter than water. The water you displace. All right. Oh, wrong side to hit. For those not in the know, I can explain why it was the wrong side, and it's because there was a good chance I would hit the lobe of the leaf doing it that way. As beginner projects go, the leaf is a great one because every leaf you make basically sets you up for making the next leaf. You can see the fact that it's happening like that already. Now what I can do is do a set down here to mark the furthest I want the taper to travel, and then finish my stem off between that part, which I think is what I'm going to do. And I think I am going to still turn it into a keychain. It's funny. Let me see how it's doing right now. Nope, wrong button. Sorry about that, guys. Yep, it's true. I was working out, cleaning out 5 chicken coops yesterday with Christina. Working up a sweat, tossing the dirty bedding out across the yard, just so we can have more mulch in the yard. And it said I did all of 15 minutes of exercise. This says I'm already at an hour, or no, I'm sorry. What does it say I'm already at? 38 minutes of exercise. So, for anybody out there who's wondering whether Blacksmith gives you a workout, my experience is it does. And you can see me now being able to break off the chunks of charcoal. And that just falls right down into the V and becomes that which I use as fuel. This piece has been over here cooking all this time, but too far from the heat. All right, you see the white bits are charcoal, keeping the rest of the fire from going out when I talk too much. Wrecker and get the magnet from an old car speaker and put it in the body under the horn. Okay. So the coal that I've been using, I'm sure you're asking Thomas. Yep. But the coal I've been using was stuff that was sent up with me when we made the Amazing Voyage this time last year. The Amazing Voyage that my wife says we should have taken the southern route. Anybody who was around last year, because I was doing live streams, knows that Earl had taken that amazing voyage with me, and we got caught in a blizzard in Wyoming, and had some fun with towing a trailer with a truck that had no heat. But while we were down in Florida getting everything together, to bring my dad's stuff, my father-in-law's stuff up here, Earl reached out to his brother and said, "Hey, you got a bag of coal you can spare?" And he gave me 2 bags. So that's what I've been using for the last year. I still have a little bit left, but today, as I said, is brought to you courtesy of Thomas. So I don't know where they got their Florida coal came from. Not a lot of coal in Florida. Coal mining, that is. Oh yeah, that's why I've been forging over the horn for getting this stem out. It's awesome. But that's also why you're here in the ring. Yep, and every time I'm talking to you guys is when I'm not turning the crank, because that's my cranking arm. I'm ambidextrous, but for some reason I just can't get the nice movement with my right arm, even though I'm right-handed. All right, go ahead and quickly mark where I don't want it to go any further back. All right. Now we'll get it hot again and finish this up over the horn. What you weren't seeing, because I didn't remember to change, was I went right here and indexed where I want that transition to stop, where I want that stem to stop being created from. That way, I'm not continuing to put so long a taper on the end of this thing. And as Thomas said, we're doing that over the horn. Hey, Jurgen. Welcome to the party. Yeah, let's try to avoid talking about those people. Giving them any more airtime than necessary is not what I want to do. Yep, that's exactly right. And I'm doing it, Thomas, by doing it over the horn with the rounding side of my hammer. So I've got a double, butcher. Is that right? No, not butcher. Butcher's with the sharp edge. A double, oh, blast it. I know the words. The words are missing, but they're there. Fuller, thank you. Both the top and bottom fuller. Draw that thing out. All right. To avoid myself getting burned, let's go ahead and get this in the tank and cool off. some of that traveling heat. There we go. Turns out, having to do multiple heats on a big bar of steel allows heat to travel much further than doing multiple heats on a small bar of steel. Probably because the small bar cools off faster. More mass to retain the heat. Just not more mass to retain the forging heat for my part. Yeah, 159 years today. Eric, if you're part of that nation, you're not going to like anything I have to say then. Otherwise, if you're just part of the West Coast here, then that's awesome. I'll invite you right up. Yeah, the western part of Washington isn't much better. Got some horses to trim. All right. No, Eric, you must have missed it on the Impractical Blacksmiths. Today is the 159th anniversary of the first ratcheting wrench being available on the market. And that fact courtesy of Adam. All right. You know what? I heard it on another blacksmith's channel with his anvil, a little Viking stump anvil. And now I hear it here too. There's a distinct difference in the sound that my anvil makes on the horn when the material is at forging temperature versus when it's not. And you guys notice I'm not bending that leaf back down again at this point. It's not thin enough to be a problem, but it doesn't need to be straight. And the more you work that bit at the transition from the big area to the little area, the more likely you introduce stress fractures. So we're leaving that alone. I can't believe it right now, but I'm 55, so I'd say 59 is a good age for a smith, definitely. Knowing it, you know what I learned, philosophy I picked up, Jurgen, is anything that we consider knowledge is just really, really strongly held beliefs. If you go with that philosophy, then when the knowledge changes because something is, better comes along, you can shift your beliefs. And so, if you allow for beliefs to be plastic, moldable, malleable, that's the word, then the world is a much better place to be living in. Yes, thank goodness, Eric. Then you, sir, are absolutely welcome to come join us at the forge in here. Oh, you can't. You've got to be kidding me. Who was it? Was it Adam who talked about this? I think it was Adam who talked about, wanting to throw something. I'm telling you, maybe it's possible to do this with charcoal, but I've done it far more often with coal than charcoal. And now I'll give the YouTube live streaming Dooja What's It time to share that with everybody. Oh my gosh. That was a lot of effort. Let's see if I can go find the piece. Or if it's now slag. We'll turn over the coals. Let's see if we can find a big lump of metal. Oh my gosh. Yep, it's gone. I'll find it when it all cools off. Son of a gun. There's a piece of dragon snot right in the making. Right there. That is frustrating. I really didn't think I'd gotten it thin enough there to burn it off. That's what I get for thinking. Wow. And where it is now, who knows? I would have expected it to have been bright red hot for me to see it. Let's go ahead and pull the dragon snot out. Oh, no, that's not it, is it? Nope, that's just charcoal. How could it not be red hot? Well, that'll be fun to find in another time. 10:06. You know what I'm going to do? I'm going to make a much smaller leaf this time. Oh my gosh. And that piece is now charcoal. All right, let's put this hot piece of charcoal down on the bottom. And get another fire going. I don't know if you noticed this, but for those non-smiths in the channel, that was me spreading out the coals And you can see already, none of them are red hot anymore unless it's charcoal. It's one of the benefits of using coal. You can just walk away from your fire when you're done. Son of a gun. Good air. I forgot to actually show you what happened. See you later, Eric. Have a great week. Yep. My leaf disappeared. No, it's got to be in there somewhere. I just can't find it. Leave for a moment. Oh my gosh. I have MIG as well. I just haven't decided if I want the leaf that badly. Yep, more practice. That's right, Eric. Good philosophy. Melt to the clinker. I don't think that's what that was, but it was way too big a mass to be a clinker, I think. Have a good sleep, Paul. All right, we got a nice hot fire again. Let's use smaller material this time. Cannot believe it. Fun times. Grab this. Grab my almost 3-foot length. Turn the camera around just in case you actually think this is an interesting thing to watch. There's almost 3 feet. Here's, actually it was a little 3 feet plus. Here's another 3 feet plus. We'll mark it and try to cut it somewhere in the middle there. Which means I need to slide that over just a hair. And yep, I got 2 pieces in there at a time. Let's see if that's a big mistake or not. Oof. There we go. It's a old, small leg vise. I think the face of it is all of 4 inches, or the jaws of it, I should say. Let me see. I told my wife I'm no good at actually eyeballing measurements at all. Yep, 4-inch little thing, but it does all I need it to do. Who was it that said size doesn't matter? Yep. There we go. Guess it wasn't a mistake. It worked. I didn't get injured. Now this fits nicely underneath my forge where my metal rack is. Has anybody seen that before? Have I shown everybody that? You twist this around. Metal rack. Little tiny metal rack for the little tiny work I do. All right, we'll take one of those pieces. We'll quickly measure it so I can remember if I'm right about this being 1/2 inch. It is. And we will throw 1/2 inch into the fire and see what a 1/2 inch leaf looks like. I'm just a little jealous, Ben, of John Switzer's brand new 6-inch leg vise, but honestly, I have no need for a 6-inch leg vise. Much less a brand new one. I'm not a professional blacksmith trying to make a living off this stuff. I'm real happy to have the tools I have. I don't have a scale out here, but if I remember correctly, this was one. Here, I'll just a little marketing for him. But he's normally a bladesmith. But oh darn it, what's his name? Over there at Fire Creek Forge, he made a run of hammers, and including the fact as the shape of this is just absolutely perfect as far as I'm concerned, because it's a short throw hammer with a big bulbous end on here, so I can actually, give good wallops and not have it fly out of my hand while having a loose grip on it. And I think this is a 2 3/4 pound hammer. And it's my go-to hammer when I'm doing heavier stuff. It might even be a 3-pounder, but I'm not fatigued by it, I'm surprised to say. The one that I had been using a lot is this little 2-pound Hoppy style hammer, which is really nice. The handle is longer than I need it to be. I almost always find myself in this area. And I like using it quite a bit too. I'm going to find out in a couple of minutes whether I need anything this heavy for 1/2 inch or not. I've forged 1/2 inch before, but it's been a while. I'm real glad I didn't buy the length of 1-inch stock. Even though my hardy tool, my hardy hole is 1 inch. So if it weren't for the fact that I have some spare, what's it called? Jackhammer bits, I'd want to have some 1 inch around here. Oh, I'd be real tickled if it was a family heirloom like that, Kevin. Okay, I did not know that. I thought it had more to do with the amount of weight you're throwing around. No, I mean, I got real lucky. I know his name. It'll come back to me just the wrong time, but that fellow over at Fire Creek Forge who does mostly blade work, I wouldn't have known out the gate whether or not this handle would have been right or not for me, but it is. It's just like absolutely perfect. I have smaller hands than a lot of guys, so definitely wouldn't have been my first guess that it would have worked out like that. Anvil. Wrong spot on the anvil, so put this back in the fire, let it keep warm. Let's go ahead and put it there. Pull in just a bit. Good. All right. Again, some short taper. This material moves a lot easier. There we go. Avoid having that fold over. Good. Set off about a cube's worth. Nope, that went wrong because I didn't get the half face blow I needed. Let's try that again. There we go. Of course, I did it on the wrong side. I was supposed to actually push it over. All right, we'll do that in a second. Heat it back up. Use a couple of pieces of charcoal down in there. Might as well. They're kind of big, so we're going to see about breaking them up. There we go. Gotcha. Yeah, the first month or two of smithing consistently, I definitely had that blacksmith's elbow, and that was when I was using, let's see, using this anvil from Harbor Freight. And I was also getting blisters because I hadn't taken off the shellac they put on the handle, and it just was, it was not good. And now that I've used this thicker handle, which basically just fills the loose grip I have without bouncing around too much, it's much better than trying to deal with this one. And I always thought it was because of the weight, and honestly now, if I had to use this thing consistently, I'd want to rehandle it. When I realized that the handle does make a little bit of a difference was when I went with this Fisker. And it's got an interesting shape to it. A lot of people would hate it because it's a rubberized handle, but because it's got this bulbous area here that my fingers wrap around real nice, and it's got this flare at the bottom, it doesn't slip out of my hands when I'm using it. And it is a heavy hammer. It's like a three pound hammer, and yet it didn't fatigue me. So this is, when I need a heavier hammer, this is often the one I was going to. This one's overkill for this job. I'm going to switch to a little lighter hammer at this point, just so my bicep gets a break. Yeah, 25 millimeters, 1 inch. Close enough anyway. I would love to see metric become a standard here in the States, but anybody who knows us knows that getting us to act in our best interest isn't always the thing that can happen. There we go. Just move that to the other side. Roll it. Mark it again. Roll it. Move it down. Get my general shape. I lift real high when I'm making these leaves so that I don't have as much of a risk of fold over and cold shut as I used to in old days. And it was a habit of mine at one point, people have noticed, to come back to the near side of the anvil to set that. It accomplishes the same thing. But honestly, I feel I get more work done at the far side of the anvil than the near side. You like thin handles for blacksmith's elbow. You mean that it prevents blacksmith's elbow for you, or causes it? And you, yeah, science and medicine. Yep. Cold, shut your mouth. All right. I'm just going to make that transition just a little bit more. And come back here, make a guesstimation. No, I'm just going to start doing it. Let's just go over here. Yep. Back into the fire while I adjust the camera. There we go. What I've noticed is the ring is more of a thud when the metal is hot enough to move, when it's really malleable. As soon as the malleability starts dropping is when the ring becomes more predominant from the anvil. That's what I noticed watching the other smith's channel. Well, I'm talking about the fact that, for example, we're one of the very few nations in the world that still uses miles per hour. A mile is such a random measurement. We use the feet and the inches and all that kind of stuff. Also quite random. They're precise now, but they weren't. We love our pounds and ounces. But then we have to memorize a whole lot of things to remember how many ounces is there in a pound. It's just like, why do we keep clinging to this archaic way of doing things and making our children have to do that? Wait a minute. Somebody said Roy. Did Roy drop in? Hey, Roy. Yeah, cantankerous blacksmith. All right. You missed the fun, Roy. I was trying to forge a 3/4 inch tactical attack leaf. Or sorry, tactical assault leaf. Believe it or not, I burned it off in my forge. All right. It's too cold to be forging, but I'm trying to straighten it up. America. The freedom units. Eleven and a half snails. All right. That's looking pretty good. Looks like I need to bite off a little bit more. Just straightening out the rod. It got all sorts of bendied. Back into the fire. Oh, that was a bunch of stuff. A scooch, a scunch, yeah. Half width of a frog's hair. Northern state using southern statement, southern talk. A smidge and a hair and a scooch. Yep. Who doesn't use those measurements? Knocking things on the ground. Must be almost time. Must be past due for a drink of water. Haven't found my leaf yet. Pinches of flux. So Roy, question for you. Do you spend a lot of time thinking out your measurements and such? Or do you just have such I mean, except for when you're making videos and you have to tell us how much you're using. Or do you have just enough experience now that you just eyeball everything? All right. Let's get all of that just a little bit thinner and round it up. Yeah. I know when I first started smithing, I was really keen in seeing you or the others out there on YouTube talk about measurements to make sure I knew what I was accomplishing. But as time has gone on, I've realized that strict measurements are good for reproducibility, but not vital. And boy, I almost did it again. Look at that. You got the right area hot though, at least. All right. And now, start rounding it up. Go to the opposite sides. Oh, you can't see that anyway. What am I saying? There we go. Opposite sides, because the anvil doesn't do quite as much work as the hammer. And yes, it's black, but it's thin. It'll move. And that's good enough. We'll get it warm again. Not as hot as before. I'd like to keep my leaf this time. So I started this whole thing for the latecomers here. Started this whole thing with saying I've had to send off a bunch of leaves to family and friends, and so my stock has dropped down. It's time to restock. And then, crazy thought of mine was to try to see could I do that with a 3/4 inch bar. And the answer is yes, yes I can. I also can still burn it off in my fire. Incredible. You see something here? Yep, that's a piece of dragon snot that just came up and right out for me. That got lucky. Anyway, so for the second one, I decided we're going to go ahead and just use 1/2 inch. And I think that will be the material I use going forward. Now I got to thin that area out. That's way too thick, but I'll do that up here, turn it into a tendril. And I'm still leaving all that mass on there in the hopes that not thinning it out will prevent it from burning off, but that didn't work before, so I don't know. This all got a nice shape. Should look like a good leaf when I'm done. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, is every time I've tried to be extraordinarily consistent, oh my goodness, the rain has sprinkled my Mac with water. So I'm going to get a napkin here, an industrial towel. And sop some of that up before I have a dead Mac. It's only sprinkled, sort of like somebody sneezed all over it. We'll just leave that right there. All right. As I was saying, I have found that all the best laid plans of mice and men, as they say, are ruined as soon as you put the hammer in my hand. So I'm right there with you. Yep, order of operations, and I can't say I've got that down pat yet either. Yeah, right? Uh-oh. Did somebody come along and make modding a problem? Christina can be my mod, but it turns out my show is not convenient for her yet. So we may still move this around just a hair. The issue is simple. My father-in-law requires care, and she's his caretaker. The care typically comes along right about 9:30 in the morning, right when I'm getting this whole thing started. The only reason I start that time of day, though, is to try and have the rest of the day available to hang out with my wife. So we have to pick our battles. Oh, I mean, I wouldn't take Jess away from Roy anytime, and I absolutely love my version of her. So I don't need a Jess, I just need a mod. Maybe a couple of them. Actually, there are folks I tried to set up as a mod, but I don't know what I'm doing. And there I did it again. So easy to get to a really high temperature in there. Get back out here. Besides which, I enjoy the forging a lot, obviously, but I also enjoy being part of the conversation. I'd actually have to have somebody talking to me in my ear the way Roy has with Jess to be the kind of mod I'd need. All right. I think what I'm going to do now is go ahead and get the leaf made while it's still part of the bar. Then I'll part it from the bar. All right. Okay, too large a comment. Let's see what it says. Taught a class yesterday. Jack, you have some words like colloquial word for rear end that tick the autobahn for comment. Yes, probably. Let's see what was going on here. Math will give you the perfect answer, how much material you need, but your hammer will ruin that answer as soon as you bring it down on the piece of material. It wasn't a banned word. He just put a good bit of wisdom in there. And I have to find the right balance between allowing people to put wisdom dumps in there versus spam bots who just auto join certain channels and put in ads. Let's see, order of operation. Okay, that we know already. Scrolling down. And then Roy said, taught a class yesterday making a pair of tongs. I made one half and the student made the other. Both had the exact same layout but completely different results. That is true too. It's not, yeah, it is. It's hiding your comments just, but only because of how the length of them. The anticipation. Only certain people will know what that means. I don't know if the full blacksmith community would get that one, but I do. We are a pretty nerdy bunch here in the blacksmith community, though, so. Snowing? Blech. You just cleaned up from one bad snowstorm. Length matters, yep. If you got too long to work with, then you have to be careful of how you're working with it. So. You heading out, Michael? Love the show. That was a nasty thing to do to my anvil. All right. How about using the anvil the way it was intended to be used? I'm running into all sorts of the shop ain't big enough situations in here. All right. There we go. And lay it in the fire here. Grab the chisel. Oh, it was a nasty thing to do there. Now I got a couple of hammer marks. It's starting to look like a well-used anvil. Yeah, unfortunately, Roy can't do any Roy rants in here without breaking up his, what you do, Roy, is you script your Roy rant, in another window, and then you copy paste in here in 256 letter chunks. Think of it as the annoyance that's having to do tweets. Oh, yeah, there's a limit on that too. You can't just put in a billion comments all at once either. You're in my tomorrow, yeah. You went back in time, Kevin? Hey, Thomas, how was shoeing the horse? Let's see if I burned it up. I got it way hotter than it needs to be, that's for sure. But I did not burn it up. All right. Let's see about that blacksmith's third arm. We'll go in here, give ourselves some pretty veins. Yeah, missed that one. Try that again. All right, that'll do. Not great, but not bad. Let's go ahead and bowl it. "90 degrees. Yuck. 400,000 fake accounts. That explains a lot, Roy. Shoddy job. Ah. Yeah, that was a mess. However, I know Roy's kidding. So, all right, we're going to leave that just sitting right there, staying warm. We're going to take this over here. And point it at the pertinent spot. Did I get it right? Ha! I did. Move that out of the way. Switch to that. Look at that. It's almost like I know what I'm doing. Believe me, I don't, but it's almost like it. All right, and into here we go. Pretty, pretty. Nice, nice. Nothing like being able to set your anvil stand on fire. That's awesome. It smells good too. It was an old maple. Silver maple fell in my yard. on my house. Across my cars. Anvil focus. We'll warm it back up again. Give it just a little bit more life than that. Focus. That's not something I have a lot of. It was a shoo-in. Ah! Yeah, a swage stump. All right. I could have done this over the edge of my anvil just as well, I think. Just a little bit more movement in that leaf. All right. That looks pretty good. If I do say so myself. I guess I did. There we go. Now to part it from the source material and start the hard part. What time is it? Oh, good timing. I mean, not if you're actually trying to do this as a production blacksmith, but good for me. Oh, puns are the best, right? So, terrible. Oh, you might get a ban on Roy's channel there, Adam, but you're welcome here with those, that's for sure. All right. Now I'm pretty sure I won't burn my leaf. I might burn off the leaf, but at this point it'll burn off where I want it to burn off, so. Go ahead and part that. The good old-fashioned way. I'm a member too because somebody gifted it to me. I gotta fix that. I want to turn it into a real thing. But I got real lucky the other day. Well, I don't get the ability to join Roy's live streams often enough, unfortunately. But somebody during one of them recently gifted gifted me a membership. So now I'll just have to continue it because, you know, that's the kind of guy I am. I do intend on throwing money at Roy for that hammer, but that's still a little in the future thinking right there. All right, that piece is done and can go into the quench tank. This piece now needs tongs. There we go. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. Dirty deeds done dirt cheap. I bet you could clean that up with some borax though. All right. What do I think about that? I think that that looks a little thick there. We're going to thin it out just a hair. Who, me? Dirty? I don't know what you're talking about. I don't. Tastes great. Less filling. I'm breaking all the rules about square to hexagon to round. I mean square to octagon to round, dummy. Now I'm a real rule breaker. You guys have been doing it wrong the whole time. Should have been square to hexagon. That's a real challenge. All right, now I can get a nice pretty scroll on the end, turn it into a tendril. Better than done with sheep. Oh my God. But that's the benefit of a kilt. Nobody will catch you. Yep, I want it. I want it bad. Just got a couple other things I got to take care of first. Like moving my whole shop around just so I can figure out where I'm going to put it. Being real careful here about how much heat I'm putting into this thing. All right. I will say, a good amount of my scroll knowledge improvement was thanks to Roy. That looks really pretty. And that's all I need there. And I just need to scroll it back over the other way. Change the camera angle again, geez. Really? AC/DC is Aussie? Things I never knew. So things you guys would never know unless I actually said it. Um, my wife, way before she became my wife, and way before she became a kick-ass nurse, was a sound engineer at Criteria Studios. And she recorded them. That was in Miami. That's coming around nice. Yep. Looking really pretty. I think that's as much of the scrolling there as I'm going to do. Let's see. To close it up completely, I think I'm going to have to grab my scrolling tongs real quick here. And then we have to bid each other adieu until the next live stream. Let's bring you in on the slowly dying embers. That over there, this over here. Nope, there we go. Let's see if I can find my key ring that I just put in here. There it is. Perfect. Come over here. Close it just a little bit, like that. Give it a little twist. Like that, because I think it looks prettier. There it is. Closed up so I can put a keychain loop on it. All set. Need to brush it off. Brush it off, wax it up. And head in for, I don't know what I'll do with the rest of the day. Video games maybe? Bring this back up this way because we're done there. Hit the mute button for a second. For anybody who was watching that was cringing over the safety concerns, I feel you. But that's what comes of being aware of what your tool is going to do. In that case, that tool spins clockwise from my top view, which means as long as I never put anything on the wrong side of that thing, I'm not going to throw anything at myself. So it was safe enough. Good temperature. We got just the smallest amount of smoke, not like before where I had things catching on fire. Good. Take my rag here, wipe off the excess, and that one's ready to go into some little kid's mouth. I mean, somebody's purse or pocket. Pretty. So now I know two things. The first thing I know is three-quarter inch is a lot of work to forge. And I also now know how much material, as soon as I figure out where I put everything, winch that off, pull this out, put this heavy bar of three-quarter inch steel up on my rack, and have the other one can come back with me to go get a quick measurement, and I can answer a question that somebody asked me about how much I should charge for one of these things, and they said, well, how much material does it take, and how much does it cost? How does that material cost? And I was like, I have no idea. So now I'm going to take this bar back with me, which was originally 3 feet, measure it, account for the fact that half of this taper is actually the other side of the taper, so that'd be a good guesstimation that way. I'm probably wrong there. I'll think about that. That may actually be something like 3/4 of the length of it, but I'll figure that out, and then I'll know just how many of these I can make out of a 3 foot length of 1/2 inch stock. Put away the other 1/2 inch stock, and then switch over to the camera. We're out of there. And bid you all a wonderful week for the folks over across the pond. A wonderful remainder of your weekend if you're still on this side of the time zone. And a wonderful week for you too. And maybe we'll run into each other at Yamez's live stream if I happen to be where I can spend time there. Otherwise, I'll see Roy in his next video, maybe Thomas in an upcoming video, maybe even see Adam in a video or a live stream. But for sure, I will do my best to always be at this live stream and the Blacksmith Church. Until then, love and light.